Hey everybody, it's Chris from Cali Raised LED, and today we're going to be installing our 2014 and newer Tundra bed supports. In your kit you will get the following: 12 3/8 washers, 6 3/8 bolts, and 6 3/8 lock nuts. The tools you will need for this installation are a 13/16 Allen wrench, a Torx T30, T40, and T55. You will also need whatever ratchets you require for your sockets. Additionally, you will need a 9/16 wrench, a drill, and the following drill bits: 1/8 inch, 1/4 inch, 5/16, and finally 3/8. Now we're going to take off our tail light. Grab your ratchet and T30 socket and let's take this thing off. There are 2 bolts, one at the very top, one at the very bottom. Once we take the bolts off, your tail light is free to move. There are 2 pins on your tail light. It is important to pull the tail light this way away from the truck, not rearward. This can be tough, but be patient and pull gently. I want to show you here, these are the 2 pins. Notice on this bottom one that it actually kept the plastic mount from the truck in it. These can be sensitive, but just be careful and apply even pressure when you pull it out. Again, pulling this way, not towards the rear of the truck. Once you got your tail light off, you can either disconnect the plugs and set it aside, or simply let it hang nicely and out of the way. Now that we've taken our tail light off, we can take the remaining bolts out and get ready to install our bed support. There are 2 areas that need our attention. The first is your tie-down hook. The second is your bed bolt. We're going to start with our tie-down hook. This is a Torx 40. Simply remove your bolts and take your tie-down hook out of the way. This will go back in at the end of the installation. With our tie-down hook out of the way, we can now address our bed bolt. This will be your T55. With all of our hardware out of the way, we can now get our bed support in position and mark our holes and drill them. Now we can take our bed support and put it into position. It should line up with your bed bolt and your 2 tie-down hook bolts. Once it's there, go ahead and loosely reinstall your bed bolt and your 2 tie-down hook bolts. This will get us in position to mark our holes. With everything lined up and in place, we will now take our drill and put in our 3/8 drill bit so we can mark our hole centers. Now we're going to use our 3/8 drill bit to mark our hole centers. You can also use a Sharpie or a transfer punch. I find that using the drill bit makes a very easy way to create a nice center hole. We're not going to do a full drill. We're simply going to put it through the hole and use it to mark our center. There are 3 locations, one at the top, one on the bottom side, and one on the very bottom down here. With our centers marked, we can now take the bed support back off and finish drilling the holes, starting with our 1/8 inch drill bit, working our way up to 3/8. Now that our holes are drilled, we can get our bed support back into position and install all our hardware. Taking your 3/8 bolt, put the washer on, put it through the hole. Taking another washer in your lock nut and putting it on from the other side. For your tie-down hook, go ahead and put it back in position and reinstall your factory bolts. With everything on hand tight, we can now start our tightening sequence. We like to always tighten it on the vertical side first, followed by our last 2 bolts on the bottom. With the bed support fully tightened down, we can now put our tail light back on. First, push your front pins in, then hold it into position and put your bolts in. This completes our installation. The other side is exactly the same, so just repeat the steps for the other side. Thank you for choosing Cali Raised LED. Please go to caliraisedled.com for all your lighting and off-road needs. Thank you.